this edition of News Today, a series in which we discuss and briefly analyze the important news of the day. Let's have a look at today's main headlines. 50 Indian cough syrup manufacturers failed to clear quality tests as per a report by the Central Drugs Standard Control Organization. Italy withdraws from China's Belt and Road Initiative. Government bans the use of sugarcane juice and sugar syrup for ethanol production. China launches the world's first fourth-generation nuclear reactor. Special Economic Zone's Fifth Amendment Rules 2023 has been notified by the Ministry of Commerce. UGC approves the draft guidelines titled Introduction of Short-Term Skill Development Courses in Higher Educational Institutes. Starting with today's first news, 50 Indian cough syrup manufacturers have failed to clear quality tests as per a report by the Central Drugs Standard Control Organization. The report stated that around 6% of samples taken for testing from 54 firms did not meet the required standards. Earlier, the World Health Organization had raised concerns over the substandard quality of cough syrups exported from India, which were allegedly responsible for children's death in countries like Gambia and Uzbekistan. From 1st June 2023, the Director General of Foreign Trade has made it compulsory to test samples and obtain a certificate of analysis from designated laboratories for the export of cough syrups. Now let's understand how pharmaceutical drugs are regulated in India. Drug regulation in India is based on the Drugs and Cosmetics Act of 1940 and the Drugs and Cosmetics Rules of 1945. The Drugs and Cosmetics Act of 1940 created the Central Drugs Standard Control Organization under the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. It prescribes standards for ensuring the safety, efficacy, and quality of drugs, cosmetics, diagnostics, and devices in India. The head of the organization, that is the Drug Controller General of India, approves licenses for specified categories of drugs such as blood and blood products and vaccines. Despite the existing regulations, there have been some challenges in effectively regulating drugs in India. For example, there is no centralized drugs database in India that is needed for effective surveillance of pharma companies. Also, there is a multiplicity of regulators with nearly 36 regional regulators for drugs. Moreover, in India, less emphasis is placed on good manufacturing practice standards. Only 2,000 of 10,500 manufacturing units in India have compliance to WHO Good Manufacturing Practice Standards. Moving on, Italy has withdrawn from China's Belt and Road Initiative. Launched in the year 2013 as One Belt, One Road, the Belt and Road Initiative is a China-led infrastructure project to link Southeast Asia, Central Asia, the Gulf region, Africa and Europe with a network of land and sea routes. It aims at deepening regional integration, promoting trade and stimulating economic growth. The two primary components of the initiative are the Silk Road Economic Belt and the Maritime Silk Road. Coming back to the news, Italy was the only G7 nation to join the initiative in the year 2019. Now the question is, what were the reasons for Italy's withdrawal? Some reasons that are being reported are the widening trade deficit between both countries, which has risen to 32.4 billion euros from 19 billion euros. Also, FDI from China in Italy has been decreasing over the years, falling from $650 million in 2019 to $33 million in 2021. Moreover, Beijing's alignment with Moscow have made European countries more skeptical of China's intentions. Earlier, Sierra Leone in the year 2018 and the Philippines in 2023 have also announced their exit from the Belt and Road Initiative. Now, there have been a number of concerns associated with China's Belt and Road Initiative. For instance, unsustainable debts provided by China to partner countries lead to a debt trap, making them vulnerable to China's influence. Also, the initiative faces implementation problems like corruption scandals, labor violations, and environmental hazards. India has its own concerns about the initiative. The Belt and Road Initiative passes through the Gilgit-Baltistan region and thus violates India's sovereignty and territorial integrity. It also undermines India's influence over smaller South Asian countries and Indian Ocean littoral states. Over the years, several initiatives have been taken to counter the Belt and Road Initiative, like the Partnership for Global Infrastructure and Investment, the India-Middle East-Europe Economic Corridor, and the International North-South Transport Corridor. In the next news, the government has banned the use of sugarcane juice and sugar syrup for ethanol production. Now first, let's discuss what is ethanol. Ethanol is one of the principal biofuels which is naturally produced by the fermentation of sugars, by yeasts, or via petrochemical processes such as ethylene hydration. Over the years, India has taken several initiatives to promote the production of ethanol, like the National Policy on Biofuels of 2018 aims to enable the availability of biofuels in the market, thereby increasing its blending percentage. The ethanol blending program has a target of 20% ethanol blending in petrol by the year 2025. And the PM Jeevan Yojana aims to provide financial support for setting up second-generation ethanol projects. Coming back to the news, the directive has been issued as per Sugar Control Order 1966 for the 2023-2024 supply year. The Sugar Control Order of 1966 provides power to the government to regulate the production of sugar and restrict sales, among other things. While banning the use of sugarcane juice and sugar syrup, the government has allowed the use of bee molasses for ethanol production. Molasses is a viscous, dark and sugar-rich byproduct of sugar extraction from the sugarcane. It is of different types like A, B and C molasses depending on the stage of extraction. Other byproducts of sugarcane industry are cane tops, bagasse and filter muds. The main rationale behind the decision is to maintain adequate domestic sugar availability and price stability due to an estimated fall in sugar production.
Coming to the next news, China has recently launched the world's first 4th-generation nuclear reactor. The 4th-generation reactor uses helium gas for cooling, unlike conventional power plants that use pressurized water. It can produce heat, power, and hydrogen and uses a small modular reactor or SMR design. Coming to the SMRs, these are advanced nuclear reactors with power capacity of up to 300 megawatts of electricity per unit. These are small, that is physically a fraction of the size of a conventional nuclear power reactor. Modular. This makes it possible for systems and components to be factory assembled and transported as a unit to a location for installation. And are reactors which harness nuclear fission to generate heat to produce energy. There are many advantages that SMRs have over traditional reactors. Low cost and construction time due to factory-built SMRs not being built on site. They're simpler and safer to use due to reduced fuel requirements. They can be deployed incrementally to match increasing energy demand. They have increased safety and lower impacts in case of accidents. Let's briefly discuss the nuclear power scenario in India. Well, India has 22 operating reactors with an installed capacity of 6,780 megawatts of electricity. India is currently on the second stage of its 3-stage nuclear program. The 3-stage nuclear program was envisioned by Dr. Homi Jahangir Bhabha. Stage 1 uses pressurized heavy water reactors. Stage 2 uses plutonium-fueled fast breeders, while Stage 3 will use uranium-233 fueled breeders. Coming to the next news. Recently, Special Economic Zones or SEZ 5th Amendment Rules 2023 has been notified by the Ministry of Commerce. The Ministry has exercised powers conferred by Section 55 of the Special Economic Zones Act 2005. According to the amendment, the Board of Approval may permit the demarcation of a portion of an Information Technology Enabled Services Special Economic Zone as a non-processing area. The processing area in an SEZ is for the manufacturing of goods or rendering of services. The non-processing area is for supporting infrastructure. The repayment of tax benefits already incurred is to be calculated in proportion of the built-up non-processing area to the total built-up processing area. Now, what is the significance of this move? Well, it increases flexibility in carrying out businesses in SEZs. It protects the interests of both developers as well as occupiers of SEZ. The freed up space will lead to better utilization for a diversified set of occupiers. And lastly, it will help to diversify the tenant base in SEZs. What are SEZs? SEZs or special economic zones are specifically delineated duty-free enclaves deemed to be foreign territories for trade operations and duties and tariffs. Any private, public, joint sector or state government or its agencies can set up an SEZ. Special economic zones provide several advantages including tax benefits, duty-free imports, state-of-the-art infrastructure, etc. The importance of SEZs lies in the fact that they boost foreign direct investment in goods and services. They increase export share and thus increase employment opportunities. Moving to the next news. Recently, the UGC has approved the draft guidelines titled Introduction of Short-Term Skill Development Courses in Higher Educational Institutes or HEIs. The University Grants Commission draft guidelines are in line with the National Credit Framework as specified in National Education Policy 2020. The objective of the guidelines are to integrate the skilling into higher education at all levels and introducing short-term industry-relevant courses or certificate courses in HEIs to bridge skill gap and boost students' productivity at workplace. The guidelines also aim to provide holistic and specialized education with a focus on practical training. Let's go through the key highlights of the guidelines. Anyone who has passed 10+2 or senior secondary examination or its equivalent is eligible for admission to short-term courses. HEIs will offer credit-linked short-term skill development or STSD certificate courses of 3 to 6 months. HEIs can offer STSD courses in several areas including robotics, cloud computing, cybersecurity, 5G connectivity, architectural drafting, basic 3D design, etc. There is a need to bridge skill gaps by promoting better employability, diversity, and equal opportunities for all graduates, by acquiring new age skills for fast evolving job market, by developing human capital to facilitate demographic dividend, and by fostering more collaborative industry-academia linkage. Let's go through the various initiatives for skilling in HEIs. Scheme for Higher Education Youth in Apprenticeship and Skills or SHREYAS, which provides industry apprenticeship opportunities. And lastly, the Earn While Learn scheme proposed by UGC to help socioeconomically disadvantaged students to earn and get skilled. The place in the news for today is Seychelles, the capital of which is Victoria. Recently, Seychelles declared a state of emergency after explosion amid flooding. Let's briefly go through the political features of Seychelles. Well, it is an island republic in Western Indian Ocean, comprising about 115 islands. The major islands of Seychelles are located east of Kenya and northeast of Madagascar. Coming to its geographical features, its highest point is Mont Seychellois. It consists of both coral and rocky islands with narrow coasts. It has wet tropical climate and its drainage system consists of only small streams and lakes.
As we conclude today's main news, let's go through some quick updates. UN Secretary General invoked Article 99 of UN Charter to warn UN Security Council of impending humanitarian crisis in Gaza. Article 99 states that the Secretary General may bring to the attention of the Security Council any matter which, in his opinion, may threaten the maintenance of international peace and security. Department of Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade held a meeting with the World Bank to showcase initiatives for logistics such as the Land Port Management System, National Logistics Portal Marine, FASTag-based electronic toll collection, e-Airway Bill and e-Cargo Security Declaration, and 35 multimodal logistics parks. Prime Minister has approved the Urban Flood Mitigation Project under National Disaster Mitigation Fund. It is for integrated urban flood management activities for Chennai Basin Project. Integrated urban flood management is a holistic approach that stresses on the interrelationship between socio-economic development, environmental sustainability, and flood risk management. Mera Gaon Meri Dharohar project was launched by the Ministry of Culture to document and map the cultural diversity inherent in villages across the country. The mapping is done under the National Mission on Cultural Mapping in coordination with the Indira Gandhi National Center for the Arts. Astronomers have created a two-dimensional ice inventory of a planet-forming disk of dust and gas that surrounds a young star HH48NE. This is the first time a direct ice map of a protoplanetary disk around a young star was captured. The direct mapping of ice in a planet-forming disk provides important input to understand the formation of our Earth and other planets. The Indian Pharmacopoeia Commission has issued a drug safety alert regarding adverse drug reactions associated with the painkiller mephtal. It can trigger adverse reactions like drug rash with eosinophilia and systemic symptoms or DRESS syndrome. Number of cyber insurance policies sold in 2023 are 35 to 40% higher than 2022. Cyber insurance is designed to guard businesses from potential effects of cyber attacks. It is designed to cover fees, expenses, and legal costs associated with cyber breaches that occur after an organization has been hacked. Pneumonia cases in AIIMS Delhi have no link to recent surge in respiratory infections in children in China. Mycoplasma pneumoniae bacteria commonly cause mild infections of respiratory system. Before we go, it's time to put your knowledge to the test in today's segment of Test Your Learning. Thank you for joining us. We hope you have enjoyed this edition of News Today. To get the answers to today's quiz and to download the PDF of News Today, make sure to check out the links in the description below.